Shocking. Jason finally finds Britt at Five Poppies Resort. But deadly secret about their daughter Luna changes everything. General Hospital bombshell. The moment General Hospital fans have been waiting for has finally arrived, but it comes with devastating consequences that will leave Jason Morgan forever changed. After months of speculation and Jason's relentless search, the truth about Britt Westburn's survival has been revealed in the most explosive way possible. Jason finally tracked down his former lover to the mysterious Five Poppies Resort in Croatia. But what he discovered there will rock Port Charles to its core. Jason's desperate search leads to Five Poppies. Jason Morgan has been haunted by that glimpse of a woman who looked exactly like Britt at the Paris airport. Despite everyone telling him it was impossible, that Britt died in her mother Liesel's arms. After being attacked by the hook killer, Jason couldn't let it go. His instincts, honed by years as Sonny's enforcer, told him something wasn't right. Following every lead, every whisper, every shadow of a clue, Jason's investigation eventually pointed to one location, the exclusive Five Poppies Resort and Spa. On the Croatian coast, the resort, known for its discretion and wealthy clientele, had been on the WSB's radar for months due to suspicious activities. When Jason arrived at the luxurious resort, his heart nearly stopped. There she was, Dr. Britt Westburn, alive and breathing, but clearly not there by choice. The woman he had loved, the woman who had understood him like no one else, was being held captive under the guise of receiving treatment. The reunion turns deadly. The reunion Jason had dreamed of quickly became a nightmare. Britt's eyes widened in shock when she saw him, a mixture of relief and terror crossing her beautiful face. "Jason, you shouldn't have come here," she whispered urgently, grabbing his arm. "They're watching. They're always watching." Before Jason could demand answers about how she survived, about where she'd been for over a year, about why she hadn't contacted him, the sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the corridor. Britt's captors had discovered Jason's presence. "We have to go now." Britt pulled Jason toward a service exit, her medical training evident as she navigated the resort's layout with practiced ease. Behind them, voices shouted in multiple languages. The international team of assassins who had been keeping Britt prisoner were mobilizing, a fight for their lives. Jason's mob-trained instincts kicked in as the first shots rang out. The peaceful Croatian coastline erupted into chaos as hired killers emerged from seemingly every corner of the resort. But they had underestimated Jason Morgan's capabilities. Years of protecting Sonny's territory, countless confrontations with rival families, and natural fighting prowess had made Jason one of the most dangerous men in Port Charles. Now, with Britt's life on the line, he was unstoppable. Moving with lethal precision, Jason drew his weapon and began systematically taking down their attackers. His aim was perfect, his movements calculated. One by one, the assassins fell as Jason created a path of escape for himself and Britt. "Stay behind me," he commanded, his voice steady despite the bullets flying around them. Britt, despite her medical background and exposure to violence in Port Charles, had never seen Jason in full combat mode. This was the side of him that had made him Sonny's most trusted enforcer, the side that had kept the Corinthos organization at the top of the hierarchy for years. The devastating discovery, as they fought their way through the resort grounds, Jason's focus was entirely on getting Britt to safety. But in the chaos of the gunfight, a sniper's bullet found its mark. Jason heard Britt's sharp intake of breath and spun around to see her stumbling, her hand pressed against her side. Britt, Jason's voice cracked as he caught her, immediately assessing the wound. His hands, so steady when wielding a weapon, trembled as he saw the blood seeping between her fingers. Even as Jason applied pressure to the wound, Britt knew the truth that he wasn't ready to face. The bullet had hit a vital area. She was a doctor. She understood exactly what this meant. The shocking revelation. "Jason," Britt whispered, her voice growing weaker. "There's something I have to tell you. Something I should have told you before." "Save your strength," Jason pleaded, lifting her in his arms as he searched for cover. "We're going to get out of here. You're going to be fine." But Britt shook her head, using what little strength she had left to grab Jason's shirt. "Listen to me. Our time together, it meant more than you know. I was pregnant, Jason, after we were together, before you married Carly." Jason's world stopped. "What are you saying?" "We have a daughter." Britt's words came out in a rush, knowing her time was running out. "Her name is Luna. She's beautiful, Jason. She has your eyes, your strength." The revelation hit Jason like a physical blow. A daughter. He had a daughter with Britt, a child he never knew existed. "Where is she?" Jason's voice was barely above a whisper. "They have her," Britt gasped, tears streaming down her face. "The same people who kept me here. They've been using her to control me, to make me work for them. You have to find her, Jason. You have to save our little girl." A promise made in grief. As Britt's breathing became more labored, Jason held her closer, memorizing her face, trying to pour a lifetime of love into these final moments. "I never stopped loving you," he whispered against her forehead. "Even when I married Carly, even when I thought you were gone forever, it was always you, Britt." A weak smile crossed her lips. "I know. I felt the same way. That's why I named her Luna, because even in the darkest times, she was my light, our light." With her last breath, Britt reached into her pocket and pressed something into Jason's hand, a small locket, containing a photo of a little girl with Jason's unmistakable eyes and Britt's delicate features. A father's new mission. As Britt's body went still in his arms, Jason felt something inside him break and reshape itself simultaneously. The grief was overwhelming, but it was matched by a burning determination. He had a daughter out there, their daughter, and she was in danger. Gently closing Britt's eyes, Jason made a vow that echoed through the Croatian night. "I will find her, Britt. I promise you, I will bring Luna home." The man who had survived countless mob wars, who had been presumed dead twice, who had always put duty before his own desires, now had the most important mission of his life. Luna wasn't just any child, she was his child, his and Britt's legacy. As sirens wailed in the distance and the smoke cleared from the deadly confrontation at Five Poppies, Jason Morgan began planning his next move. The people who had kept Britt prisoner, who had taken their daughter, had made the biggest mistake of their lives. They had just created an enemy in Jason Morgan, a father fighting for his child. What happens next will change everything for Jason and the entire Port Charles community. The search for Luna is just beginning, and Jason will stop at nothing to bring his daughter home. Will Jason be able to track down the mysterious organization holding Luna captive? How long has Britt been keeping this incredible secret? And what other shocking revelations await as this story unfolds? One thing is certain, Jason Morgan has never been more dangerous than he is right now. A grieving father with nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. The stakes have never been higher in Port Charles, and Jason's world will never be the same. This explosive revelation promises to be one of General Hospital's most emotional and action-packed storylines yet, as a father's love becomes his greatest weapon in the fight to save his child. Next, we will learn about the deceptive custody battle brewing for Michael Corinthos and Willow Tate's children, where hidden bribes and fragile minds could unleash a storm of family devastation in Port Charles. In the high-stakes corridors of Port Charles' legal system, Michael Corinthos is riding high on what he believes is a secure victory, holding full custody of the kids he shares with his estranged wife, Willow Tate, at least until the judge's anticipated October review reshapes the landscape. Little does he know, this apparent win is tainted by dark machinations, as the ruthless Jen Sidwell has secretly greased the palms of the presiding judge. To ensure Michael's favorable ruling, Sidwell's cunning scheme doesn't stop there. He's orchestrating an elaborate frame job aimed squarely at Sonny Corinthos, positioning the mob boss as the fall guy for the illicit payoff. To weave in fresh intrigue, picture Sidwell operating from a shadowy penthouse lair, exchanging encrypted messages with corrupt intermediaries who plant forged evidence, linking Sonny to the bribe, perhaps doctored bank records or anonymous tips that trace back to the Corinthos empire. This plot isn't just about personal vendettas. It's a calculated strike to dismantle Sonny's influence, potentially dragging the entire family into a vortex of scandal and retribution that could alter alliances forever. If this web of deceit unravels and the judge's corruption comes to light, with Sonny painted as the mastermind behind the bribe, the fallout promises to be catastrophic on multiple fronts. Sonny, already walking a tightrope with his enemies, could face swift arrest and a barrage of charges that strip away his freedom and tarnish his reputation among Port Charles' elite. More alarmingly, the tainted decision might be swiftly overturned, ripping custody away from Michael and plunging him back into uncertainty. Envision Michael, seething with betrayal, redirecting his fury towards Sonny once more, reigniting old feuds that echo their turbulent history of power struggles and broken trust, perhaps culminating in heated confrontations at the Quartermain mansion, where accusations fly like daggers. Caught in the crossfire would be Carly Corinthos, thrust unwillingly into a familial war zone she desperately wants to avoid, her loyalties tested as she navigates the minefield between her son and ex-husband, inventing new elements Carly might discover incriminating clues in Sonny's safe, forcing her to choose sides in secret meetings with Michael, all while grappling with her own resurfacing doubts about Sonny's choices. Yet, the most harrowing outcome looms if Willow suddenly regains custody amid the chaos, a scenario that spells potential disaster given her precarious mental state. Since Michael's custody triumph, Willow's hold on reality has frayed dramatically, manifesting in erratic behaviors that raise red flags for those closest to her. The courtroom verdict triggered an immediate meltdown, where she collapsed in hysterics, requiring urgent hospitalization and a regimen of sedatives to stabilize her. In quieter moments, away from prying eyes, she slipped into near catatonic states, staring blankly for hours as if disconnected from the world around her. And there are whispers of her losing chunks of time waking up in unfamiliar places, with no recollection of how she got there. Her volatility has escalated into outright aggression, most notably when she lashed out at Lucas Jones with a stinging slap during a heated dispute over family matters. To add depth with invented details, consider Willow wandering the hospital halls at night, muttering to herself about perceived betrayals, or journaling frantic entries that reveal a fractured psyche haunted by past traumas. Like her cult upbringing and health battles, Willow's troubling actions extend far beyond isolated incidents, painting a portrait of someone teetering on the edge of a full breakdown, even in acts of apparent kindness, such as assisting Sasha Corbin through the intense throes of childbirth with steady hands and encouraging words. Willow's demeanor flipped like a switch afterward. In a shocking twist, she infiltrated the maternity ward at ABC General Hospital under the cover of night, deftly swapping Sasha's newborn with another infant in a move that reeks of calculated malice. This wasn't a one-off. She persisted in a campaign of psychological torment, gaslighting Sasha with subtle manipulations, blank doubts about her motherhood, staging accidents that made Sasha question her sanity. The overwhelmed new mom fled the hospital, possibly vanishing from Port Charles altogether in search of safety. Expanding creatively, imagine Willow lingering in the nursery, her eyes glazed with an unnatural fixation as she whispered justifications to the swapped babies, or leaving anonymous notes that deepened Sasha's paranoia, all while maintaining a facade of concern to outsiders like nurses and family friends. Given this spiral of instability, Willow's potential custody win poses an unimaginable risk to the children's safety, as her current condition makes her unfit to provide the nurturing environment they need. If the kids end up in her care amid the legal upheaval, the chances of tragedy skyrocket, perhaps an unsupervised moment leading to a hazardous oversight, or her volatile moods erupting in ways that traumatize the young ones. The thought of Willow in a fog of dissociation, forgetting basic routines or reacting with unexplained anger during playtime sends chills through the community. New invented scenarios could include Willow experiencing vivid hallucinations, where she confuses her children with figures from her past, prompting erratic decisions like impulsive trips out of town, or enlisting unwitting allies in schemes that endanger the family's stability. Michael, ever the protective father, would be devastated, but the real peril lies in Willow's inability to recognize her own unraveling, making any time alone with the kids a ticking time bomb. As the pieces of Sidwell's intricate frame-up against Sonny begin to fall into place, the burning questions mount. Will his devious plan succeed in pinning the blame and toppling the Corinthos patriarch? Could Michael find himself stripped of custody, watching helplessly as his world crumbles? And perhaps most crucially, is Willow in any shape to shoulder the responsibilities of parenthood right now? Or will her demons lead to irreversible harm? Next, we will learn about the mounting pressures threatening to shatter Curtis Ashford and Dr. Porsche Robinson's already fragile marriage, as blackmail, misunderstandings, and potential betrayals push them to the brink in Port Charles. The road has been anything but smooth for Curtis Ashford and his wife, Dr. Porsche Robinson, over these past turbulent months, with external threats and internal secrets eroding the foundation of their once solid union. They've been locked in a desperate battle against the relentless blackmail schemes orchestrated by Drew Kane, who has wielded his leverage to coerce them into compromising positions that test their morals and loyalty. At the heart of this nightmare lies a grave misstep Porsche made some time ago, driven by her fierce determination to ensure that the dangerous Heather Weber remained locked away behind bars for good. In a bold but risky move, Porsche manipulated crucial lab results from tests conducted at ABC General Hospital, altering evidence that could have swayed Heather's fate and potentially set her free. To wreak more havoc, to inject fresh layers into this saga, imagine Porsche sneaking into the lab after hours, her hands trembling as she swapped data files under the dim glow of computer screens, all while rationalizing it as a necessary evil to protect her daughter Trina and the community from Heather's unhinged threats. This act of desperation, meant to safeguard her loved ones, instead opened the door to unforeseen consequences that now haunt their every step. Through a tangled web of coincidences and investigations, Drew Kane stumbled upon this explosive secret, arming him with the perfect weapon to bend Porsche to his will. Initially, his blackmail targeted Porsche alone, forcing her into a solitary struggle where she concealed the ordeal from Curtis for as long as her resolve held, enduring sleepless nights and mounting anxiety in silence. But secrets in Port Charles have a way of surfacing, and Curtis eventually pieced together the puzzle, uncovering his wife's hidden torment and the web of lies she'd spun to shield him. His initial rage at the deception was palpable, stormy arguments echoing through their home. As he grappled with feelings of betrayal, but his protective instincts kicked in, leading him to swear an oath to defend their family unit against Drew's manipulations at all costs. Expanding with inventive details, picture Curtis confronting Porsche in a rain-soaked park, his voice breaking as he demands the full truth, only to pull her into an embrace found to stand as her unbreakable shield, perhaps even enlisting discreet allies like private investigators to dig into Drew's own vulnerabilities for counter-leverage. This revelation didn't just strain their marriage, it forged a reluctant alliance against a common foe, though the scars of dishonesty linger like shadows in their daily interactions. For the moment, Curtis is operating under the illusion of a hard-won truce with Drew, a fragile ceasefire that has granted him the breathing room to redirect his energy toward salvaging his marriage with Porsche. He's come to the heartfelt conclusion that dissolution isn't the path he wants, opting instead for the arduous journey of rebuilding trust through open dialogues and shared efforts to heal. Porsche, relieved beyond measure, has embraced this olive branch with open arms, her eyes lighting up at the prospect of reclaiming their happiness amid the chaos. However, a new wrinkle has emerged in the form of Isaiah Gannon, who recently witnessed what he perceived as an intimate exchange between Curtis and his former spouse, Jordan Ashford, a harmless conversation laced with old familiarity that Isaiah misread as something far more scandalous. To add creative flair, envision Isaiah eavesdropping from behind a hospital corridor pillar, his mind racing with assumptions as he sees Curtis gently touch Jordan's arm during a moment of shared concern over city affairs, twisting it into evidence of rekindled romance in his overactive imagination. This misinterpretation could propel Isaiah into an uncharacteristic role as a meddler, stirring the pot in ways that ripple through their lives. It appears Isaiah's newfound tendency toward gossip and interference might lead him to confide his discovery in Porsche, planting seeds of doubt that could poison her mind against Curtis. Despite the utter lack of romantic sparks between Curtis and Jordan, their interaction rooted purely in platonic history and mutual respect. Porsche's insecurities, amplified by recent strains, might make her swallow Isaiah's tailhook, line, and sinker. This perceived betrayal could ignite a vengeful fire within her, prompting Porsche to mirror what she believes Curtis has done by seeking solace or retaliation in Isaiah's arms, crossing a line that would irreparably fracture their vows. Delving into new elements, imagine Porsche confronting Isaiah in a dimly lit coffee shop, her questions escalating into a charged encounter where shared frustrations blur into forbidden attraction, perhaps fueled by late-night texts that start innocently but veer toward emotional intimacy. If Porsche takes that plunge into an affair, it would seal the doom of their marriage, transforming simmering tensions into an all-out collapse that leaves no room for reconciliation. As these dominoes teeter on the edge, the pressing dilemmas swirl. Should Isaiah insert himself by revealing what he thinks he observed, potentially igniting a firestorm? Will Porsche succumb to impulse and entwine herself with Isaiah in a moment of misguided payback? And just how much resilience does Curtis and Porsche's union have left before it crumbles under the weight of deception and doubt?